Welcome to Saving America. This is your host, Dr. David D. Shine, and our first segment is In the News. And as has been the habit lately, we've got plenty of news to talk about. Wish it was better news. The country is broke. Look, the national debt has skyrocketed. Now, this is the official national debt, topping $28 trillion, and that's without this crazy so-called human infrastructure plan. Not a single economist who has any merit at all endorses this plan. It will cost jobs. It will cost further indebtedness in this country. And anybody who thinks that this thing is going to pay for itself by the alleged tax increases they claim to have built into it can tell you that it ain't going to work, not even a little bit. And so things are very, very bad, but at least so-called Republicans and conservatives are standing strong at the moment to say they will not fight with the Democrats on raising the debt limit so the United States can keep paying its bills. So we'll see what happens there. Meanwhile, the country is far less safe. We already know that. We know that the fall of Afghanistan and the colossal failure there, the failure of America to deal with China's increasingly aggressive approach means internationally we are far less safe. But let's talk about what's happening at home. CDC alert to medical professionals: Afghan refugees may spread infectious diseases that have largely been obliterated in the United States. Clinicians are to be alert for cases of measles, as well as other infectious diseases, including mumps and malaria, among the evacuees from Afghanistan. They've also notified of 16 cases of measles and 4 cases of mumps among Afghan nationals and U.S. citizens recently arriving from Afghanistan. Equally disconcerting is a disease that was wiped out in my childhood, and that is polio, a debilitating disease that affects the legs. And of course, poster child for polio was former President FDR. And I actually personally knew a coworker in my early corporate career who had suffered from polio, and it's not a good situation. So we need to be aware of the risks that we're bringing in these people without vetting them both politically and vetting them in terms of health. Speaking of the risks involved, is we've got the FBI investigating an alleged attack on a female soldier by male Afghan refugees. A group of Afghan refugees illegally brought to a U.S. military base by the current corrupt government of Bidumb attacked a female soldier, and this being investigated by the FBI. Furthermore, 2 refugees housed at Fort McCoy in Wisconsin were indicted for sexual assault involving a minor and a domestic assault. One of our favorites, author Andrea Whitberg, has a header: Afghans allegedly lived up to the reputation as sex criminals. And we don't have time to get into that right now, but unfortunately, Afghans tend to have a very low opinion of women and have been involved around the world in countries that have taken in previous Afghan refugees who seem to have been the most deliberate violators of human rights, and especially women's rights. And this is indeed very disconcerting. Speaking of health risks of the Biden administration, how about the fact that they're not testing Haitian refugees? This is just a very, very scary situation. They've gone crazy, this Biden administration, with vaccine mandates for everybody. You can't work in a hospital, you can't work for the government. Gosh, you can't even work from home for a company if you haven't been vaccinated. And yet they're letting all these folks run crazy from the southern border and from Haiti and from all over the rest of the world. And as we just mentioned, many of whom have not just COVID, but childhood diseases that we've eradicated. and they're not testing them. How can this be? How can you, it's one thing to say, well, we don't have the money to vaccinate all of them, but why are we not testing them? Why are we not keeping them locked up in their home countries, making them apply for immigration the way we do with the rest of the world? Yeah, this current situation is completely out of control, and the Biden administration indicted for providing an unsafe environment, both domestically and internationally. This is Dr. David D. Shine. Thank you so much for joining us.